The views on That's My Word podcast is expressed strictly for entertainment purposes only. Word. Uncle Will telling you to subscribe today. That's my word. This is Uncle Will of That's My Word podcast. Subscribe today. So I would want to pick up on the second half of this interview with, you brought up Antifa. Now, on a couple of your Facebook Lives, you mentioned Black Lives Matter, how at a lot of their rallies, they tend to burn down the cities and everything like that. Do you feel that Antifa plays a role in that too, or is that just the protesters themselves of the Black Lives Matter?
Yeah. So what I see on TV, because I don't go to that area to see what's going on. Actually, I probably wouldn't, because it doesn't look very safe to me. But it looks to me, I when I see, I actually watch One America News, and that's it. I don't watch any other news because to me, it's just garbage. So, because CNN is just full of lies. I personally don't like Newsmax because they retracted their statements on Dominion, but there's just reason. There's just, I have my own reasons for liking One America News. But when I watch them and I see what's going on, they never mention Antifa at any of those events. So that's why I come out and I say, this is Black Lives Matter, because that's what they're saying, and they're holding up signs that have it on there. Now, Antifa, do they burn down cities? I'm sure they do. I am sure they do. They are not angels. And actually, I do believe that Joe Biden came out and said something about Antifa being I don't know. He said that they're not a dangerous group or something, but that's not true. We know that that's not true. So I don't know. I don't know why he would say that. Yeah, he did.
Wow. Oh, okay. No, but go ahead. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. So about the Black Lives.
Well,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What I know about Black Lives Matter is that they are a group that
take your time.
Stands up. Yeah, what they say isn't true. I believe that what they're teaching these children and what they are saying to people is completely misleading. When first, I will say I have family members that are Black. I have friends that have Black children, and I do not believe for a split second that my friends' children that are half Black have a disadvantage in life when standing next to my children. I do not believe that. I do not believe that. And I do not think it's right to teach your child that your child has a disadvantage compared to a white child, because that child is not going to reach their full expectations in life when you're sitting there pushing them down, saying, no, you have a disadvantage when you don't. So if you actually stood and told your child, listen, you can do anything in life that any other kid can do, and you don't have a disadvantage, you have just as much as an advantage as they do, and you have every opportunity in life, and you pushed that child would never think that child would not be held down the way they are. And you are giving that child a disadvantage by saying that. And it's very upsetting to me because I have friends that do that to their kids. And I constantly get into it with them because I don't believe it.
Well, let me say something in regards to this, Uncle Will. I'm biracial. Okay, I'm originally from Canada. My dad is here from the States. My mom's from Vienna, Austria. We had crosses burned in our yard. My first day of school, get on the bus, where the bus stop was right in the driveway. My mom had to physically fight to get me on the bus. Words, not very good words, were used against me. And over time, I've learned a couple things with that. One particular thing is A person who may be racist or a person who may be biased towards another race, particular race, the worst thing they want to see than that person who is of the opposite race is a child like me of our existence. Just because you may have not experienced it firsthand doesn't mean it does not exist. You're going from your ears, your eyes, and what you've experienced and what you've observed. Whereas it could be raining right now on the other side of the world, could be having hurricanes. Over here, it's cold. Okay. Mm-hmm. But stuff like that, from my own personal experience, it does exist. Now, you mentioned in regards to saying you have family members who are biracial. Okay. You have friends who are African American or Black, whatever one wants to refer themselves to. Now, going back into the past, again, politics is dirty. Are you ever worried that someone may go into your past or testify in your past that you used a racial epithet?
Never. I have never in my life. I do not speak like that. I to be honest, I say this all the time. I look at people that are famous as if they're one of me. I don't see people as being better than other people. I can't stand ego issues. I don't like the arrogance people have. That's one thing I can't stand. So I don't see that kind of stuff in people. I don't judge people at all. I would never even bring up someone's past if they didn't bring up mine. You know, until they bring up mine, I don't ever look into their past. But, you know, it's that kind of stuff. No, I've never in my life. And that's just nothing I would ever even talk about. I have, like I said, I have gay friends. I have Black friends. I have Mexican friends. I have, you know, my family's full of
diverse.
It's very diverse. We have, yes, thank you. We have every ethnicity in my family. My grandpa is Italian. He came from Italy. He told me how bad it was for him when he came to America and how terrible it was for him. And he said that it was then like it was in like it was for September 11th in 2001 with, you know, how they treated the Arabic people. And my grandpa said that is how he got treated when he came over here. And, you know, I understand that there is racism. I see it. But to me, when you can't even think that way, because I've never been, you know, I've never seen color in people. I would never judge someone by the color of their skin. It's something that literally doesn't exist to me. I see people that are like that, but to me, I just think those people are sick in their heads. And if they weren't saying something about someone else, they would be doing something that's something else sick, you know? So they're just crazy, sick people.
So tell me this, do you think that the Black Lives Matter, that they're a homegrown type of terrorist organization? Like, I mean, are you think they're equivalent to something like that then?
I don't think that they're a terrorist organization. No, I think that their views on life are very twisted. And I think that, again, if they just changed, I believe that they were raised by or in an environment that taught them this kind of behavior and this way of thinking. And they feel like they're held down.
But can we say the same thing for the Aryan Nation then? Because I mean, if you think about like with Black Lives Matter, the formation of Black Lives Matter, since then President Trump took office, we have seen a peak of racial tension in the United States. Yeah. And so a lot of Black organizations have been formed out of frustration, out of fear, out of anger, or whatever like that. So do you think that seeing what has occurred from 2016 to 2020, that there is some justification of being angry maybe from some of these organizations? Because even at some of the rallies, like you said, you have Antifa, you have some other people coming to spark or and put a stain on the movement. So do you think that there's some form of a justification based upon the experience that a lot of the black and brown and even yellow
in a
ethnic groups been
form,
going
I
through?
do. I do. In a form, in a way, I do. I do. I believe that a lot of people just thought Trump was completely offensive. And, you know, to be honest with you, there's been speeches that Trump has had, and I've been standing in my living room with my parents there, and I've said, wow, he shouldn't have said that. You know, he should not have said that. But, you know, so I don't agree with everything someone does, you know, I don't, but I do say that I do think that, yes, there has been a lot of groups, obviously, that have just came up while Trump was in office. Now, is this something that was created by the people, or was this something that was created by the government? Because I'll tell you, our government creates issues that are not actual issues, and they divide the people. Our government cannot have us united, because when we're united, we have the power to overthrow our government, and they don't want that. So what they're doing is they're constantly creating division. And when people actually follow that and they feed into this garbage, all they're doing is allowing our government to keep us divided, keep us held down.
What group has in recent years created the division? Is it the Republican platforms or the Democratic to you? Because
to me, they're both on the same level. Okay. They're both to blame, because I'll tell you, when the Democrats, listen, I have learned so much with politics in the last couple months alone, that I called my manager and I said, it makes me sick to run as a Republican, to be honest with you. I said, it literally makes me sick. I said, because I can't. I'm being honest, and I'll
you are blunt. I like
and I applaud you for it. I applaud you for it. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. But no, I said, first off, I will say this. I said, I'm getting sick and tired of walking into these Republican events and people looking down on me as if they're better than me. I said, I do not like that. I said, you know, I don't believe anybody's better than anyone, and nobody has the right to look down on me as if I'm not as good as they are, because that happens at these Republican events a lot. So, and that really pisses me off. So, I said that, and I also said, and the more I learn about Republicans and how, you know, we've used these machines too to cheat, I said, so this is why nothing's getting done about the machines, and nobody wants to do anything, because nobody wants to admit that they just, you know, they use the machines to cheat too.
Exactly.
So, you know, when I think about it, it's very frustrating, because they want someone to come in here and be a miracle to the party. Well, I'm sorry, but there's so much going on that it would take, everybody has to do it. You know, we all have to be together to do it. One person can't take that much stress.
Right.
All right. Let me ask this question. And a lot of times people forget, because as a politician, and this is a statement first, as a politician, you have to represent everybody in your district. It doesn't matter color, creed, religion, political affiliation, you are representing the people.
That's right.
So the question comes into play is, would you have a problem to sit down, or even by a Zoom meeting, to discuss with different, we'll say people of different religion, different political affiliation, or even even Black Lives Matter, hell, even Aryan nations, whatever the case may be, would you have a problem sitting down or having some type of discussion with them to get their viewpoint and the concern, to get a better understanding where they're coming from, where you're coming from?
To be honest, Charles, if one of them was willing to, I would love to talk to one of them about their views. I would absolutely love it, because I have never.
What's wrong with you reaching out, Melissa? I mean, what's wrong with you reaching out to try to do it?
To be honest with you, I've never had the chance. I don't know any of them. I can't.
You listen, you are a fresh face in politics, right? Especially here in Michigan, which is why a lot of those same Republicans that you say shun you or they look down on you, because you have an opportunity to bring in a whole new outlook. Maybe
Boots on the ground.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe that can be one of the things that you can do by doing something that they don't do. All they want to do is sit back, wait for lobbyists to come bring them money or find different ways to fatten their pockets. That's not their platform, as you say. So maybe you can take a whole different approach and reach out to some of these different groups just to bring them in and to spark that conversation. And that's the word, spark.
Honestly, I've never thought of it, and I would love to talk to them. I would love to get their viewpoints on things. I would love to see, what their viewpoints are on very important issues we're having here in our country, and a lot of other things, because I believe, honestly, I truly believe that these people are holding each other down. They're holding each other down. And if they stop thinking that way, then they would be raising their kids to believe that they had every opportunity that any other child has. And, so I'll use this example. I have a daughter, and being that my children aren't mixed, they're white, so I can't use that, but I'm going to use this. I do have a daughter, and there is a lot of women that say we're women, women's rights, and, women don't have equal opportunities. Okay, fine. But, I would never mention that to my daughter. I would never mention to my daughter that I think that she does not have an equal opportunity to a man, to her brother. I would never, ever tell her that, ever. And if she ever asked me, I would say, no, that is untrue. That is untrue. You have every opportunity he has and more, because I would never want my child to think that way.
What if your child, what if your child experiences that? Would you tell your child they're wrong for what they heard or what they saw?
It depends on the situation. It would depend on the situation. And I would probably, number one, do my hardest, try my heart. First off, I'd probably go crazy and go into a school or wherever it happened and just let loose. But then I would
hold up. Be careful with the word let loose now.
Right. Yeah, I'll be on the news tomorrow. Right. But I mean, honestly, this is why we have let's say school of choice. So if something like that is going on, and say that there was racism going on in a school and my child was a mixed child, or they were making fun of my kid, say it was an all African-American school and I put my little white boy kid in there. So, I mean, all I'm saying is, hey, what if that happened? And, what I would do is I would go there. I would just probably, like I said, lose it. Then I would end up taking my child and putting them in a school of choice, or maybe homeschooling them. And I would probably never bring it up to them. I would if they asked me about it, I would probably just say there's evil people in the world, period. Yeah. I would never, ever allow them to know that it is because they are white, okay, or black, or they are.
Oh, go ahead, Uncle Will.
Well, Melissa, so we have about 15 more minutes left here. So what I want to do is to pivot and talk about recent news and everything. So we all know that Officer Chauvin has been found guilty, but there's still a outstanding case that's going on right now, also in the same state, with Officer Kim Potter with the shooting of the young 20-year-old. How do you feel in regards, because I know that you said a little something on your Facebook Live, a while back. So for the viewers that's watching, what is your feeling on the George Floyd and the other situation, the cases?
Okay, yeah. So I'll start with the George Floyd case. The George Floyd case, I have watched this so many times, the video footage. I'm sure everyone has. I watched the whole trial. Maybe missed a couple scenes, different people testifying. Well, I will say that I know I've read Derek Chauvin, or if that's how you say his last name. He has had several complaints as a police officer in the past. Several.
18 in the last 19 years. Go ahead.
Right. So which someone told me, which equals about 1 a year. So that's correct. And so I believe that that officer should have been put on a probationary period. He should have had some extensive training, or maybe he should have lost his job, depending on what the complaints consisted of. I don't know what the complaints were. To me, Derek Chauvin was on a complete power trip. I've watched the video footage, and I will say this. It is not my opinion that Derek Chauvin was a racist person. I believe that he was 100% on a power trip, and he was one of those officers that, I'm sure we've all ran into one, because I've ran into thousands of them in my lifetime, and they're totally arrogant, just on power trips. So that's what I believe. When I watch the, and maybe he does have a racism problem. I don't know. But from what I saw,
if 90% of the complaints are from African-American citizens, it has to play some form of a role of racism.
Oh, I didn't know that.
One young lady that him and his partner pulled over in one of the complaints, because out of all those complaints, only 2 of them brought some form of backlash on him. He pulled one young lady out the car just because she allegedly went over 10 miles in driving, and just threw her in the back of the car without saying anything, and left her up in there for about 20 minutes, and then just let her go and just pulled off him and his partner, which was why they sanctioned him up on that. So he had a problem with, as you say, power trip, but it has to be some form of racism. If over 90% of his complaints were by African-American citizens.
Okay. So yeah, I did not know that, but I was thinking they were mostly about, because I heard that they were a lot of them were about women. So I was thinking he was some kind of total creep.
Well, he got to be a creep. His wife filed for a divorce even after the situation with the George Floyd situation.
3 days later,
she even reached out to his family and apologized on, you know what I'm saying? So to me, that says a lot about a person when
it does.
Your spouse is willing to reach out to them, and then they decide to divorce them. So
right.
In regards to that situation, you also made mention, and a lot of stuff been going on in the press where George Floyd, his past was brought up, his criminal history, that he was on drugs or whatever. Do you really see a relevance of what crime a person committed, let's say 5 years ago, or whether they do smoke weed or they do smoke crack? What is the justification of even bringing that up?
I brought that up because of this, because all 3 of these people were known for their violence against women. Mm-hmm. So these men had all had a very violent past against women. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's very strange that, we're uplifting these people that.
But I don't think it was uplifting, Melissa. I think it was just pointing out what has been going on or whatever for years in regards to police overstepping, possibly.
Let me be intrusive.
I mean, okay, Charles, I know you're gonna be intrusive, but what I'm saying is, Melissa also brought up a situation where officers are trained or whatever, and they're trained to put the knee in the middle of the back, but not in their neck. It's a difference. I think Chauvin overstepped by doing what he did. He took.
No, you're exactly right.
And he misused it. You're supposed to place it in the back to provide support.
Okay.
To prevent the person from moving, to keep them stable, not on their neck.
Okay. So I wasn't aware of that.
Teaching.
Okay. And let me add this really quick. So I will, and I've said this several times, Derek, the police officer, should have never, ever stayed. I'm sorry, my cat keeps jumping up on the table. He should have never. Oh, I'm so sorry. Hold on.
No
That's
problem.
it's all natural. It happens.
It's that cat. So
Okay.
I'm sorry. So he should have never went when he had his knee on George Floyd. He should when someone stops breathing or when someone stops moving, you move your knee. Why in the world would the guy stay locked on him like he did? Now, when I was watching the trial and going through the trial, that's exactly what I said the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
I said, this guy is number one on a power trip. He should have gotten up off of him the second he stopped moving. The second he wasn't breathing. He was dead under his knee. So yes, we have a huge problem. But when you have people like Maxine Waters coming out and commenting on a trial before the verdict is reached, you have someone swaying a jury. And that's not okay. We can't do that. You know, everyone deserves a fair trial. That is our rights here in America. And when politicians come out and publicly say that, you know, their opinion on a trial, I don't think that that's right.
You know what? I agree with you, but I want to piggyback on where I was trying to be intrusive earlier. Okay. You had made a statement in regards to about glorifying because of somebody's past, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you make statements like that, you have to do a comparison or contrast. That's the way my mind works. Okay. Everybody's mind doesn't work the same thing. When you make statements in regards to, say, glorifying because of his past and everything, some people, and again, because politics is dirty, people will say, well, Melissa, why should we glorify you? Look at your past. Mm-hmm. What would you say if they were to sit there and use a comparison or contrast, if you use that in regards to George Floyd about his past glorifying in regards to your past glorifying? What is the difference between the two?
Well, he has a past. I have a past.
Right.
I'm not going to get into our differences in our past. It doesn't matter. We both have a past.
What I'm saying is, why should people support you, whereas people supported him? So what I'm saying, when you make that statement, but go ahead and continue, please.
What I mean by that, Charles, is when we had George Floyd that passed away, he lost his life, unfortunately, due to an officer. The officer definitely killed him. But when you bring in, did that officer know that George Floyd was had the health issues he had, on top of was on several different substances? You know, from what I know, he was on fentanyl. He had meth in his system. These are uppers and downers. So when someone has a underlying health problem, and this isn't answering your question, but I'm on my way there. So when they have an underlying health problem and an officer doesn't know that, and I'm not justifying what that officer did. I promise I'm not. But what I'm saying is, how are these officers to know that someone has restrictive breathing already because they are suppressing their breathing from what they just took? What? Yes. What?
The thing is, though, it's a difference. The thing, whether he had a bad heart condition or not, when you look at the video, he was trying to get in his car. He wasn't laboring in his breathing. He wasn't dizzy or falling all over as if he was getting ready to pass out and die. He was on the ground, still breathing good, begging for mama and everything like that. What caused the death wasn't his pre-medical history. What caused the death was the act that the officer did.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
So the thing is, why bring up medical history or drug use? And I guess what Charles is saying is, why would you want someone to use your irrelevant past based upon what you're trying to do for the citizens of the state of Michigan now? You're trying to change things.
Let me answer that really quick. So here's the thing. Let me just tell you guys this. I would never in my life, I had friends run from police officers when we were younger. Okay. House parties. We all have been there, right?
Right.
Well, they would run from police, and I always, here I am, this little 5 foot, nothing, and blonde little, I would never run from a police officer. You know what I always thought? I always thought, this is exactly what I thought. I'll get shot. They're gonna shoot me. There'll be a crazy officer that just shoots me. I thought that since I was old enough to remember when my friends would run from police. I would never do it. I would never do it because I always thought, hell, if there's a crazy police officer that has a screw loose, he's gonna shoot me. And I my friends would always say, "Oh, you're crazy. Well, no, that's how I've always thought, that I would get shot. That they have guns, we don't, and they can use them. They're police officers. I'm not gonna run from them. Well, and so
with us only having like 1-2 minutes left, tell me your idea on defunding the police. Can you give us in 1 minute, what is your thought on defunding the police?
No, my thought is absolutely not. We cannot defund our police. That is I've never heard anything dumber ever in my life. Please, I'm sorry. It is not okay. We can't do it. Who are we going to call? If somebody comes in and breaks in our house? And okay, how about instead of defunding the police, how about if we give them some extensive training and put them through some other classes and make sure that when they come out, that they're better trained for us. And if they have put some regulations with their complaints, like how this Derek Chauvin had all these complaints against African American people, that should have been looked into. Wow. And if we wouldn't have somebody that just lost their life, if we could have gotten rid of him in the proper way.
Right.
Let me throw this real quick. Are you aware when a person passes out or a person dies, their body relaxes?
Yes.
So you knew from that point, at a certain point when he was gone, Chauvin had to feel that relaxation.
I did.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did.
And let me ask you this. You said you're Italian, correct?
Yes.
Any of your relatives, are they blonde hair, blue eyes?
No.
Okay. The original Italians were blonde hair and blue eye.
I have blonde hair, but we're from North Italy. Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying.
Not blue eye.
So you might want to do an ancestry check. The original Italians are blonde hair and blue eyes.
Well, yeah, I'm definitely Italian.
That's a little note from Charles the right there. You know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and wrap it on up then. So I just want to say, number one, I do agree with you on the non-defunding the police, because we do need some type of policing around here, whatever. So all that, I'm with you on that. The extensive training, retrain these people, these officers, deprogram them from the old way of thinking to reduce and help bring trust back into the communities, whether it's black, brown, yellow, whatever. So I agree with you totally, Melissa. And I just want to say that I truly thank you for coming on to the show. And I look forward to seeing a fresh face up there in Lansing. And I hope that you don't be just like the other ones, say what you got to say just to get your butt into office, but affect change, work across the aisle and everything like that. I believe that you can help make a difference with not just with your Republican base, but with the Democratic and independent base as well.
Absolutely. And thank you for having me on. And I would love to, if one of you could get a hold of me and you have connections or ties to somebody that is in Antifa or that is in Black Lives Matter and that would like to talk, I would love to. I would. How
can people get a hold of you?
Yeah.
My Facebook, or actually that's really the only way. Or you can go on Vote Carone right here behind me.
VoteCarone.com.
Yes, that's for my campaign, and you can volunteer for my campaign. You can donate to my campaign there. Yeah.
Thank you for being very blunt and real. I like that.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me on.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll come on anytime. So let me know.
We appreciate it. So to everyone that watched the show, we thank you. And also keep an open mind. Ms. Carone has had a lot of negative press, but maybe she can affect change. Maybe she can help us citizens in the state of Michigan or whatever. Never judge a book by its cover. That's what I took away from this interview. She's very honest. She's very open, and apologize, but that's what we want from our politicians, to be honest, blunt, and open. And I think that Ms. Carone came on and gave us a open book, a open into her life and her past and her background. And you also keep that same objectivity. Thank you. Signing off.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
So yes, I honestly do think that you can actually help to make a change up there in Lansing or whatever. And because, like you said, you got those fellow Republicans up there that looks at you like you crazy, but I think it's fear. That's what
it is.
Fear. Click the link below and subscribe today. Umbrella Entertainment. We have you covered.